You do not have to stay on the same track. You can, in fact, use your powerful now to make a more defined decision about what you want, and you can use your ability to focus in a way to focus more deliberately on what you want, for the simple reason of you prefer to feel good rather than bad. You prefer to feel ease rather than congestion. You prefer to feel clarity rather than confusion. You care about the way you feel, so you guide your thoughts. You don't try to change the world. You don't try to convince others. You don't try to change conditions. You don't try to argue for your conditions or for one condition being right over another. You let your entire argument for yourself and for humanity to be about things that feel uplifting to you. That's the way you sort all of this out.
What's so beautiful about it now is I feel, when you mentioned the 5 steps, I kind of vacillate between 3 and 4 now. And this is an opportunity for me to find that balance. So I realize now what you're saying is, like, if we're having physical pain, I wake up and the blood pressure is high, or that goes on, or this goes on. Somehow it's built up momentum. So taking the naps, taking care of myself, hydrating, and not even relying on supplements so much as the emotional. So it's my dominant intent, I'm stating it here. For me and anybody else in that situation, it's my dominant intent to physically feel good.
But here's the thing. Feel the difference between being in the receptive mode, where you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and you get an impulse for something to drink, or you get an impulse to move your body in some way, or you get an impulse to eat something, or you get an impulse for some supplement, or you get an impulse to read some book. From that high-flying, tuned in, tapped in, turned on position, as you follow through with it, the results of what you are doing will be enormously beneficial to you, not because of what you choose, but because the vibrational stance in which you choose it. When you are in the receptive mode, what you choose gives you what you want. But let's say that you are uncomfortable about something. Somebody's talked to you about something. You saw something in a television advertisement that made you feel vulnerable. And so from that vulnerable place, now you feel inspired to seek out the product that they are promoting or whatever. That's an entirely different state of resistance or non-resistance. We just want you to consider how the action that you're inspired to, regardless of whether you're inspired from worry or inspired from alignment, regardless of what position you're inspired from, consider that when the inspiration comes, here's a good way to explain it. Let's say that there is a product. We'll talk about something other than water, although that's the really best one to talk about. But let's say that there is some substance that someone is now producing that most physical apparatuses really like, that on a cellular basis most of your bodies are receptive to it and it's beneficial. So let's just say that there is product X and it's that way, just for sake of discussion. So let's say that you've been flying so high, you've been appreciating, rampaging in your appreciation, and you're in love and you feel so good, and you're meditating and you feel clear-minded, and you're vacillating with step 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, allowing mastery of it, even step 5, you're not bothered by resistance. 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. You're right there, you're just soaring and feeling really good, and you receive the inspiration to purchase and partake of product X, and in your state of alignment it is so beneficial to you. Now let's say that you've been banging around, you've been worried about some things, you've been fussing about things, some things aren't going quite the way you want them to do. You're meditating scantily, you are appreciating when it's easy, you are feeling good some of the time, you're cognizant about the way you feel, but you are tentative and a bit tense and overwhelmed and want to do good work, but you're not really 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. You're not feeling that way steadily, and you feel an inspiration to buy product X, same product, same exact substance, but in your not receptive mode it doesn't give you the benefit. Same exact product.
Can you be in receptive mode and still be in sharp pain or discomfort? Can you be in receptive mode?
Well, that's what we're talking about here, isn't it? We're talking about embracing the contrast, not using it as judgment, not using it as a club to beat yourself over the head about, accepting it as something wanted and benefiting from it. And in fact, that's what step 5 is. Step 5 is allowing yourself to be back in step 1. And so if there is a practiced ease about it, the answer to that is absolutely. Absolutely. It's just a matter of where you put the emphasis. That's really what the whole point of this discussion has been this whole day so far, is that we want you to feel all right wherever you are. And we know physical pain is way off past the rumble strips and way off into the weeds. It's way off into some sort of rough territory. You're not even on the roadway anymore, and you're having a bumpy ride, but you can still be in control of your vehicle. You can still know that you have the ability to get it back where you want it to be, and you can still not feel the risk of going over the cliff. It's that feeling that you've got it and that it's okay where you are, and the acknowledgement that there are a whole lot of people, more and more and more every year. It's an industry, maybe one of the fastest growing vehicular industries in the world, is off-roading. People are bored with the pavement, and some of you are too. Some of you are bored with the pavement. You want to get off where it's more adventurous. And yes, it's bumpy, but the question is, can it be fun while it's bumpy? A whole industry says that it is. Esther bought a Kawasaki. She called it a kamikaze for the first day. And reveled in how high she could bounce as she went over bumps. She only owned it for a day because it didn't work in the application that she wanted to use it in. But what we are getting at is, there are times when you want a little more excitement, but it's excitement in your control. If you've got a flat tire, that doesn't feel like control, even if it's bumpy. But if you're in your specially designed, souped up vehicle that's meant to leap over ditches, and you're out there doing it, you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on while you're doing it. And what is the difference in the way you feel? You feel like you've got it. It's a feeling of security, you see. So this is what we're wanting to help you to reestablish and activate in a stronger, more consistent way within yourself, that you've got this, you have this alignment thing down, and everything else will follow. Don't ask your alignment to follow your conditions. Ask your conditions to follow your alignment. And if you ask your conditions to follow your alignment, and you are stable in your ability to accomplish your alignment regardless of the conditions, then in time you can get that turned around. But as long as the conditions are the basis of the way you feel, then the momentum is taking you into further and further distress more and more of the time.
Well, the good news is I don't stay
It's
there
all good news.
long. Yeah, but the actual time of, oh, I'm sick, or I don't have the energy, I can't listen to another client, I don't want to do another group, that's exhaustion or the adrenal blowout. That's my story. What I'm recognizing now is that there are longer periods of time where I don't have it. When it shows up now, it's deeper, but it's because of alignment.
Consider this. So think about receptive mode, tuned into the source, receptive mode. And in the receptive mode, call it what it is: receptive mode, renewal mode, replenishing mode, rejuvenating mode. You can get into that receptive mode and your clients cannot deplete you. But if you're not in the receptive mode, it doesn't take much and you're depleted, and then it feels like you need time away from what's depleting you. Well, you don't need time away from what's depleting you, because nothing can deplete you when you're in the receptive mode. You see what we're getting at? Nothing depletes you. Nothing depletes you, because you've embraced contrast. You're not judging it in any way against yourself or any other. Don't take that too seriously. We're not speaking specifically to you doing any of these things.
Yes, you are. I'm in therapy over it.
We're talking conceptually about it all.
Right.
We want you to understand the laws of the universe, and we know that you do.
Yeah.
You got that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Can you feel the difference between getting out ahead of it, being happy for the sake of being happy at the easiest time that it is to be happy? Now, that's a little tricky, and it sounds like Abraham's offering a bit of contradiction also, because we're saying, look for things that easily make you happy and then run with it. And you might say, isn't that conditional? And we say, it's conditional maybe at first until you run with it, but you've got to find some way to get it to no longer be conditional on conditions. Let's let it be conditional on alignment. Let's let it be conditional on feeling good. Let's let it be conditional on being in the receptive, in the rejuvenating mode, not conditional on the conditions. Don't focus on the outcome in order to produce more energy. Produce more energy to create more outcomes that you desire. Feel the difference?
Think I get it. conceptually how it feels is it's something I'm gonna have to put into practice and find my way to do that. I am doing that.
So talk to us about some of these moments of depletion. Talk to us from your perspective how you think you got there, just generally. Let's chew on this and we'll show you specifically what we mean.
Overdoing, overpushing, that's one.
Overdoing. So Esther found an analogy for herself about traveling with someone who might be helpful to her, who could pick up her bag and put it in the overhead. Now, there's always someone around who not only can do that, but who wants to do that. But she notices the difference between someone who picks it up easily and someone who kills themselves doing it. Overextend it. So what is your definition of overextending or overdoing?
Exhaustion, adrenal burnout, tired, lightheaded, blood pressure high. And I have to add to that, as we speak, there are more than enough little signs that I probably went past because the momentum of working 8 clients at once, doing a group, building the website, all about frequency and vibrational stuff, but my own personal navigational system may get kind of ignored.
So what we're talking about is shortage consciousness. Now stay with us just for a minute. If you have an opinion that there's not enough money, and so there's not enough money, and you are spending more than's coming in, you get out of balance. If you hold your breath but expend energy, you get out of balance because you're not taking in as much oxygen as you need. If you suck in more oxygen than you are utilizing, you get overextended on that. You begin to swoon and hyperventilate. There's a balance in all things. There's a balance in the air that you breathe in and out. There's a balance in the food that you eat in and out. There's a balance in the money that you receive and spend. Now let's talk about the balance of time. Let's talk about what time allows. So if you have a feeling of time shortageness, that there isn't enough time to do everything, then you get out of balance. We're talking about that alignment of in and out, in and out, in and out. So do you believe that someone could be prosperous enough that they would never again have to pay too much attention to what's going out?
Yes.
Pretty easy to comprehend, isn't it? In and out, in and out, in and out, in, out, 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 in and out, in and out, in and out. But it's sort of easy in some cases to feel the balance of that. Can you feel that your body has a natural ability to keep you in balance relative to your breathing? Do you ever lie in bed and notice the difference in your heart rate? Put a Fitbit on and pay attention. Notice how your body adjusts to what you're doing. And when you get up to move, your body pumps more. Now, the question that we want to ask you to ask yourself is, does my body pump more because I'm moving, or is my body pumping more so that I can move? Is my heart responding to my movement, or is my movement summoning my heart to do what it needs to do? We want you to understand the integrity of the whole of what you are. We want you to understand the wholeness of who you are. We want you to know that every cell of your body is known by the source within you. We want you to know that when you hold an intention, aren't you just sort of amazed at the dexterity of your body? Don't you think it's amazing the things that your fingers can do that you don't even think about? How is it even possible that all of your ligaments and all of your cells and all of your bones and all of these pieces of your body know exactly what to do in order to get you into the place that you can pick up little things or you can pick up big things? In other words, don't you find yourself rather amazing? And are you willing to accept that there's more to your physicality than just the learned behavior? Do you watch the babies and what they know how to do? They don't learn to stretch from you. They stretch from the inside out. They don't yawn because you've got it on the schedule. Eat at this time and poop at this time and yawn at this time. You don't give your babies those schedules. They understand. They are channeling it from their broader perspective, you see. And so what we're wanting you to understand is that you have so much more help and understanding about your physical apparatus than you ever need to know anything about. You just need to create the atmosphere, the mood, the environment in which your wiser inner being can orchestrate the details of your body with less hindrance from resistant, ornery, overwhelmed, time shortage consciousness you.